presents live in its 27th season, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, from the heartland city of bowling popularity, we bring you the $200,000 Milwaukee Championship. Leading off our competition is a second-year pro from Columbus, Ohio, making his second appearance ever in a championship round, Jeff Miller. His opponent is looking for his second PBA championship, the strong throwing pro from Columbia, South Carolina, Jeff Bellinger. In our second game, the man hoping to maintain his perfect television average, Bob Benoit. Seated second from Milwaukee, Oregon, shooting for his sixth PBA championship, Dave Houston. And hoping to add his lucky 13th title today and his first since 1986, our tournament leader, Big Steve Cook. That's our field today on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there is something very special about a Milwaukee sports audience, and especially a bowling audience here at Red Carpet Lanes. The 23rd year we have seen them respond. Nobody in America loves bowling more than they do here, which is the home of the American Bowling Congress as well. Good afternoon, I'm Chris Schenkel. First of all, a happy holiday weekend to all of you wherever you are. Immediately following our telecast, it's ABC's Wide World of Sports today, boxing. Rocky Lockridge is the champion, IBF junior lightweight champion of the world, and he'll be going against an undefeated challenger named Harold Knight. Should be a real war. We're going to have a battle here in these lanes, too, believe me. A couple of U.S. Open champions, a man that rolled the 300. In fact, speaking of Bob Benoit, my colleague, a winner here, is with him right now. Let's join Nelson Burton, Jr. Bo?
Thank you, Chris. With me is the man, as Chris says, has a perfect television record. In fact, he's never made a spare on national television. His only appearance rolled a 300 game at the Quaker State. Bob, you made more than $160,000 there in less than 20 minutes. What did you do with all that money, and how's it changed your life?
Well, the money's in the bank where it should be, and I'm pretending like I don't have it. But it's made bowling a little bit easier out here for me as far as the money goes. But pressure-wise, I put a little more pressure on myself than I had before.
All right, this week you rolled a 300 game in the qualifying. You're in the number 3 position instead of the number 1 position. Any predictions or any game plans? Maybe another 300 game?
Well, I'd take odds on me not shooting 300 here today, but if I get lined up the first game, I'll have a good chance of winning, and if I don't, then I'm gone.
Pretty subtle and pretty much finality to that. Chris, there's a lot of money at stake. Let's take a look at the prize fund, and then we'll be ready for action.
Okay, we had a total prize fund of $200,000. Look at that. 39 to the winner, 20 second, 12 third, 9, and then 7. So, in our stepladder approach, head-to-head competition, 2 Jeffs shaking hands. The red shirt, Jeff Bellinger of Columbia, South Carolina, a graduate of the University of South Carolina, and here getting really a first-time look at a 24-year-old graduate of Purdue University, where he majored in mechanical engineering. Jeff Miller, first shot. Put the right calculus on that shot. Jeff Miller opens with a resounding strike. And let's see what 34-year-old Jeff Bellinger, one title, that was in the 1986 Buffalo Open. A lot of pressure on the 5 finalists always. And it just didn't come up. In fact, Bowie told me just before we went on the air he was going to change his strike ball, one that did a more direct approach to the pocket.
Well, I think so far it looks like a mistake, Chris, to change it. As you see his profile, a very powerfully built man, short backswing, rolls that wrist behind the ball, sends that one wide, leaves the 1-2-8-10 washout.
Oh. Circling around the 10-pin, and for Jeff Bellinger, that is an open frame. He has quite a routine he goes through before he takes that resin bag, as you look now at a replay.
Chris, he gets the ball left of the headpin where he should be, and then he drives the headpin right past the 10. Tough break for Bellinger in the first frame.
gets it. He has hurried his routine a little bit more than usual with the resin bag on the thumb hole and then back on the towel. He's speeding it up here. I hope he doesn't speed it up too much, Nelson. It could affect his overall game.
That's for sure. He was very diligent in his pre-shot preparation last night as he made a charge to the top 5. Today he's a little bit quicker, as you said. Now here's the Boilermaker up here on the right-hand lane straight working.
And he has left only the 2, luckily, for the young man who has a most unusual step approach on the approach itself, Nelson. It's different.
Short, concise, or tight approach, 5-step delivery, kind of stutter step in the first 2 steps, and really a short backswing. I think probably the shortest we have in professional bowling. He hits that line so solid. He accelerates on that pivot step. The 4-step drives through very hard, and he makes it work.
And blows the shot, leaving the 2 pins. So now both players with open frames. For Miller in the second, for Bellinger in his very first, following it with a strike.
Jeff has to be somewhat upset at that shot. Just a little pre-shot nerves as he wasn't even close. He's trying to go somewhere around the second arrow and then just have the ball hook across the center of the lane, and he just throws it way too hard. It hangs out to the right, slides by the 2-pin, and let's see if he can recover from that. Sometimes it's really disturbing in the early going.
Hit, and he has left the 3-6 on the left lane. Young man that was on the Purdue University bowling team 2 years. They haven't had high national ranking, but he has done something that the Purdue basketball team couldn't do. They tried to get to the Final 4. They didn't, but Jeff Miller has gotten into the Final 5.
As you look at his grip, good point, Chris. It's really, the first couple of frames are difficult. This young man uses his head out there, and he'll recover.
What a speed. Marking with a spare in the 3rd frame, and Bellinger, who is up, leads by 1 pin. Good study of Miller's face, pondering, wondering what happened. Well, he's handling it well. Now here's the routine. Careful setting. Bellinger, who's been in the finals 2 of the last 3 years here. We asked him earlier why he does so well at red carpet.
Well, I feel this particular bowling center, the carry here has a lot to do with the way you roll the ball. There are a lot of guys that have problems carrying the 10 pins and especially the 4 pins here. And I feel like my particular roll with the ball speed that I have, I tend to carry well. And hopefully on the show today, I won't leave any 8 pins like I did against Roth. And I possibly carry a few 10 pins like I didn't carry against Voss. And hopefully I'll win my first game and go on to win the tournament.
And he's speaking of his 2 previous appearances in the championship round on this exact pair, 63 and 64 at red carpet lanes, where he went down to defeat to those 2 players, Voss and Roth. Chance for a double.
I hit in another split, the 4-6-7 for Bellinger, who had an open frame in the very first of our first match.
Quickly up, he's just going for 2 pins.
All right. Jeff Bellinger going against Jeff Miller. More after this.
It is no big deal.
It's a hassle.
Oh, it's called Master Care Car Service. Brakes, tune-ups,
Alignments?
no big deal. The mechanics are great. All their equipment, you'd swear they were technicians. And they stand behind their work 6 months or 6,000 miles.
Mastercare.
You're covered from Maine to Missoula. These guys are so good. Fixing your car is no big deal.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Mastercare Car Service by Firestone.
But I thought they just sold tires.
Strength, pride, tradition. For centuries, the Clydesdale has been known as a special breed. Today, the Clydesdale symbolize Budweiser's dedication to quality, superior ingredients, exclusive beechwood aging, and a distinctively clean, crisp taste that only Budweiser can offer. Quality taste. Because this Bud's for you.
The Honda Accord, the Honda Civic, the Honda Prelude, and now, the 5-speed mid-engine overhead valve Honda riding mower. It transforms cut into grass into a memorable Sunday drive. The Honda riding mower. It could be the car of the year.
Bo, there was a 227 average, composite average on this pair.
Something to look for, Chris, 63 and 64 is the oil pattern is simply this. The oil is real heavy down to a point of about 20 feet, and it's a little bit lighter down here to about 45 feet, and then dry in this area. But one thing to watch for is the scoring was abnormally low when the lanes were very slick, and right now they're very slick, so it's going to be tough match game play in the early growing, and as the lanes start hooking a little later on the championship round, I think the scores will really pick up.
Beautiful breaking ball for Jeff Miller, who is from Columbus, Ohio. His parents are here in person watching him. Linda and Jerry Miller. His sister was going to come, but she couldn't, as was his grandmother, Olive, who's a 76-year-old bowler in Columbus, Ohio.
That's a good point, Chris. They came up here. It's not that far a drive. In fact, in the fog up here, it's probably the only way you can get here is the Mitchell Field Airport was closed most of the day. Now, Jeff Miller recovering after that little respite we had in the commercial. It was his time out. Let's see if he can extend his lead to 14.
Crossing over, and he's left with the 3-10 on the left lane. There, Mom and Dad, Linda and Jerry.
And Jerry shaking his head as everybody seems to be struggling on both lanes, and what he has to do is get the ball over here right next to the 3-pin and have the ball deflect into the 10. We call that the baby split. Pros should make that at least 1 out of every 2 times. Needs this to maintain the lead.
Third generation of Miller bowlers in Columbus. Nope, second open frame. Lead he had is lost. It's an 8-pin lead for Bellinger, who will try to come back after an open frame.
Once again, the championship here, I showed you the oil pattern, but the grain of the wood comes through on this pair. In the right-hand lane, 64 hooks 3 boards less than 63 for the right-handed players. Our tournament leader, Steve Cook, has them the other way around. So the grain of the wood is very important. Let's see what Bellinger does.
Oh, nice action. Striking the 5th for Jeff Bellinger, an accountant major at the University of South Carolina.
The serpentine footwork of Bellinger as he steps across, just like a speed skater going around a turn, that overstep, that he pivots step, and then the pro move at the bottom with that wrist. He lost that ball about 7 feet over the foul line. The first row of dots is 7 feet, and that's really one of the reasons he has so much success in this house. A little bit of extra loft does very well in this bowling center.
The screws with that double here in our very first match, the winner to meet Bob Benoit.
Capacity crowd here at Red Carpet Lane, 72 Lane Center. It's what we call a back-to-back center. As you see the money leaders for 1988, Bob Benoit, who will be in the next match, leading the pack at 129,000 down to Amleto Monicelli at 43,000. Now Miller trailing by 18, needs to get something going. 6 frame.
Robbed, leaving a solid 9.
Boy, it's a hit that seems to be almost commonplace, Chris. The powerful bowling balls the players use today. The ball hits the 1-3. It should hit the 5 and then deflect into the 9. Not to be. It just hooks right through. Now, normal, as we call it, pin action, that ball should respect the weight of those 3-pound, 7-ounce pins. It does not. The ball is just too strong for the pin action.
Good. He made sure all of the ball on that lone pin. Earlier we asked him why he chose the Professional Bowlers Tour over mechanical engineering.
when I graduated in December, off time of the year. And job market was kind of slow, and circumstances just fell into place that I was able to try the tour out. And
Chris, I had somewhat the same situation. I started the tour in 1965, and when ABC's putting up a lot of that money and the tour is very rich at this time, it's a good time to start.
And it's a great time to start for Jeff Miller striking because he's behind by 18 pins. We'll be back.
When Radio Shack put their $849 computer on sale for only $599, I just had to have it because it runs the same IBM PC software I use at the office. I got this complete system, including color monitor, for only $899. And it came with 7 programs in one, like word processing, budgeting. My wife uses it to run her catering business.
Homework, Dad.
They use it so much, I'm thinking of getting my own.
Save $250 on a Tandy 1000 SX, only $599 with software. Complete system only $899 at Radio Shack.
Well, spring is here, and to make sure your car takes the change of seasons in perfect stride, stop by your Napa Auto Care Center now for our spring specials. Look for the sign of Quality Car Care. Napa.
In a battle drill, you need horsepower, firepower, people power, teamwork.
All that you can be, get an edge on life in the Army.
On today's Wide World, Harold Knight, the challenger trying to take Rocky Lockridge's crown away, is 19-0, though with 15 knockouts. And I'll tell you, a great part of that telecast today will be the return of my colleague and close friend Alex Walu, who has been battling a dreaded disease, and he has whipped it, and he's back on the air today. Just like that. 3 in a row now, and a 28-pin lead.
Bellinger, just a determined 34-year-old, has paid his dues out here on the professional tour, has one victory to his credit. He's the roommate of Tom Milton, who won earlier in Florida this year, and Tom Milton was rooting for him last night, as you see the low-angle trajectory of Jeff Bellinger's ball. Ball hits the 1, 3, 5, and deflects into the 9-pin. Now 28-pin lead, 3 strikes in a row, 8th frame can extend to 38.
No ball, don't do it.
Oh, begging the ball to do what it did. 4 in a row for this 215-pounder from Columbia, South Carolina.
What he was begging was, don't go high, don't go high. Jeff pulled the ball a little bit at the release point, but that tremendous loft that he had about 7 feet over the foul line let the ball, what we call, hold back. It made the difference between maybe a 4-pin and a strike, and it's really put Jeff Miller in a lot of trouble. Jeff has to throw some strikes right here.
That gives him a double. Strikes in the 7th and 8th. Now he can cut it to 18 with a strike on the left lane where he's had problems.
Jeff Miller, only the 2nd Rabbit player, or Pro Tour qualifier player that bowls on money to qualify for the regular tournament to make it to the championship round. He led the Rabbit squad on Monday, and here he is bowling in the first match. The other player to do that was Randy Peterson, the AC Delco 1986. He went on to win the tournament. Must strike for Jeff Miller.
And a 10-pin on that pesky left lane for Miller of Columbus, Ohio.
Jeff rolls the big hook ball for his strike ball as he looks a little bit down, a little disconsolate at his situation right now. The best he can do is 195. Jeff Bellinger going at a strong 214 pace, so barring a miracle, Bellinger will go on to meet Bob Benoit.
But Jeff Miller will be back. Takes a while for maturity on the tour, any sport.
Well, I agree with that, Chris. You know, really, it's the first 3 frames before we had a commercial break that were the undoing of Miller. Once we had a little time out there, he has been real strong with every shot he's rolled in the last 5 frames. So I'm sure he'll analyze what happened here today and make that work to his advantage next time.
only the 5-pin, and Jeff Bellinger is one of those that says he talks to other people, but it's really talking to himself. Loud enough, though, that we often can hear what he has to say. There he was with the resin bag over the thumb hole and patting it and wiping it off, and now ready. .73 through the 8th for Bellinger. Spare up.
Jeff, who used to be always a great strike bowler, used to be an erratic spare shooter, has made some major changes that are good for anyone who throws the big, powerful hook to make. And that's simply break that wrist back, roll the ball end over end, a little bit like we show you in the grip tips. How to change your shot from the big crank ball today to the straight shot, and it's made him a better player.
So with a 4, 6, 7, certainly coming at the right time for the winner, Bellinger. So he will move on against the 300 shooter, Bob Benoit. We'll be back. A Professional Bowlers Tour is brought to you by Master Care Car Service by Firestone. Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. By Budweiser, Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Aquavelva. There is something about today's Aquavelva man.
I tell you, he's gotten goofy.
I like your dad.
Dad? He thinks he's my brother. Last night we were shooting hoops at 10 o'clock.
So?
Marty, this is the same man who'd never lift his nose out of a newspaper. Now we listen to Z-Rock on the radio. What is this?
The right vitamin nutrition and a balanced diet helps people get more out of life. Some are finding Kellogg's Product 19, 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals.
I just wish he'd act his age, like your dad.
Feel like 19 again.
When I'm fighting dandruff, I want all the help I can get. So now I'm using new extra-strength Denorex with 39% more dandruff medicine. For my dandruff and itch, there's 39% more medicine in new extra-strength Denorex. For great-looking hair, I can't get too much of a good thing.
It's no big deal. Brake jobs? It's Master Care Car Service. Premium brake jobs. Terrific warranty.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Master Care Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
China's Yellow River. Along its banks, the sacred, the bizarre, the astonishing, the unruly dragon. A special program from ABC News, Sunday.
Bowling, billiards. For your individual or family sports entertainment, try bowling or billiards. And the place to get your equipment is at Bowlers and Billiards Warehouse, where you'll find Hawaii's largest inventory of bowling and billiard supplies. Our billiards division offers Hawaii's largest showroom of billiard tables, with sales and service by factory-trained professionals. So drop by and meet our billiard professionals, Cash Mitsuda and Neil Nizoy. That's Bowlers and Billiards Warehouse, Hawaii's largest inventory of bowling and billiard supplies.
From across the nation to around the world, here is the investigative magazine that brings you stories both big and small. From behind the headlines of the rich and famous to ordinary folk with extraordinary stories. A look at their private lives and innermost emotions, their triumphs and tragedies. Maury Povich is your host of 30 uncompromising minutes, live every day, only on A Current Affair.
We're for Hawaii.
Back again in Milwaukee, Jeff Bellinger with 6 strikes and 198 defeats Jeff Miller, who shot a 185. Well, a new role for my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr. Watch and listen.
While we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the PBA Championships, we thought you'd like to take a trip back in bowling time, back to the days of the pin boy. At 21st Street and Lincoln Avenue in the greater Milwaukee area is located Gene and Marcy's Holler House. This is an active bowling and fun center. The Holler House is the oldest certified bowling center in the nation, a place where the pin boy is not a lost art. One of the first things you learn as a pinball is safety. You have to get out of the way of the ball. The primary thing is speed, though. Get the ball back to the people as quickly as possible because you're working for only 10 cents a game, and that was a lot of money in that time. If the people didn't bowl quick enough, take a pin out. Bang it on the rack a little bit. They'd get the message. And the way to keep from getting cheated while they're bowling is count the frames. A good pin boy would count every single frame that a team or individual bowled to make sure they didn't bowl any extra frames. At 10 cents a line, that was a lot of money and a lot of work.
The automatic pen setter here at the Red Carpet Lanes. Bo, I have a feeling you have a new office. Holler House in Milwaukee.
Well, my daddy started me setting pins, Chris, in 1951-52. I did for 5 years at our old establishment and set many thousands of games. One little point, though, is there's only 10 pins when you have a pin boy, and we use 21 for the championship round. 10 that Bellinger is getting ready to attack, 10 that are waiting, and 1 extra just in case. Now, second game.
I like that one. I hit leaving the 610 for a man that shot 198 in his victory over Jeff Miller of Columbus, Ohio. Jeff will have made $7,000 this week, finishing 5th. Bellinger going for the 610. He goes against Bob Benoit. Perfect on television. Okay, well done in the first frame for Bellinger. Now, from Topeka, Kansas, formerly a resident of Dallas, and who did so well in his very first PBA championship round, tossing a perfect 300 game to Mark Roth's 255. Here's his first shot in Milwaukee. Average 232 on this championship. Harry crushed it twice during the competition, so oh, he's still perfect on television.
No doubt, Chris, but now he's up to that unlucky 13 strikes in a row. As you look at the delivery of Bob Benoit, that cuffed wrist, it just about lays it back on his hand. In fact, he almost doesn't need his thumb in the ball. He just uses it for guidance, lifts straight through, and boy, he just has really such a super nice style. And with today's urethane finishes and bowling balls, it's just accentuated with that big hook, going for a double.
A high hit, and in this game, it's all over for a perfect game. But, well, how do we shoot this spare, Nelson?
One of the tough spares, Chris, the 3, 6, 9, 10, and other than the 2, 4, 5, and 8 spare for professional bowlers and amateurs alike for that part of it, you have to go down the right side, make sure the ball carries out the back 9 pin without chopping off the 3 and 6. Here's Benoit.
And just what you said.
Well, I didn't like the angle he took, Chris. We were talking about going down the right side, and Bob Benoit took more of a conventional angle, the cross lane, but always the danger of leaving the 9 pin forced him to hook the ball too much, and he chopped it off, giving a major opening to Bellinger right here in the first frame.
Bellinger with a spare up. Second frame now. Oh, the 9 goes. Just like that. A little movement. Backward movement for Bellinger. Here it is again.
Jeff Bellinger, watch the power of his bowling ball. The ball should not ever have a chance of leaving a solid 9 on this hit. See, the ball hits the 1-3 and never, ever deflects at all. Almost leaves a solid 9 again. Chris, I'm not too puristic totally about this game, and I'm all for modern equipment. But bowling balls today or something is just way too strong for those pins. That's, to me, really uncharacteristic pin action from the design of the game.
Okay.
Now, Bellinger up third frame.
Good point. That time, a 10 pin on the left lane for Bellinger. Still talking. Here's the routine. Usually does 5 little puffs of the bag. I told you he was speeding things up here today.
You look at his grip, finger grips, extends that index finger. He'll kill this shot. He'll break the wrist back, throw it a little harder, let that ball slide across lane.
Okay, now back to Bob Benoit. Prior to his perfect 300 game victory and the Quaker State title at the Forum Bowl in Grand Prairie, Texas, he had a spotty career. He started out spotty here, although he opened with a strike. Open frame in the second. Here's the third. Just like Grand Prairie, just perfect hit in the pocket.
You're right, Chris. That's the shot that we saw 12 times as you watch the arm swing. And the key is this: does he keep it close to his body? There he brings it back. He brings it out a little bit to the right, then realigns at the top of his swing. Perfect right there, right next to his left leg. Follows through, plays just around the second arrow. And the result, 10 in the pit. Once again, the left-hand lane seems to be giving most of the players the trouble. It's the one that hooks the most. And let's see if Benoit can make the adjustment. He's playing a deep inside line, inside the third arrow.
A high hit and a 4-7-10. And the head shake, we cannot blame him one bit.
Bob Benoit must go for this spare. It's a very difficult split. Get the ball to the left of the 4-pin, slide it over into the 10-pin. Be interesting to see if he plays the big hook on this shot. I wouldn't play it at all. I'd throw it hard and straight.
All right, got 2 of the pins. We're in our second match. And the Milwaukee Championship, $39,000 to the winner. We'll be back.
When Radio Shack put their $849 computer on sale for only $599, I just had to have it because it runs the same IBM PC software I use at the office. I got this complete system, including color monitor, for only $899. And it came with 7 programs in one, like word processing, budgeting. My wife uses it to run her catering business.
Homework, Dad.
They use it so much, I'm thinking of getting my own.
Save $250 on a Tandy 1000 SX, only $599 with software. Complete system only $899 at Radio Shack.
For great personal service and low everyday prices, check the lineup at your neighborhood True Value hardware store. Locate stored items easily with the April bargain of the month. Rubbermaid see-through storage containers. The lids snap on tight for protection, and they stack neatly to save space. Rubbermaid storage boxes come in 3 roomy sizes for $2.99, $3.99, and $4.99 each, where you see the banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
The kid meets the champ for the title. Rocky Lockridge is the veteran champ with knockout power. Harold Knight is undefeated in 19 pro bouts. They meet on ABC's Wide World of Sports next.
Here at the red carpet lanes, running behind our allotted time schedule, a great number of spares in the first match, starting out here in the second. Jeff Bellinger in the 4th frame, a strike. 5th frame, a strike. Jumping out to a 36-pin lead. Now here's his opponent, Bob Benoit, an open frame in the 4th, shooting in the 5th. A high hit, and look at that, 3, 4, 6, 10.
As I said earlier, when the lanes are a little slick or a little tight, the players are having all sorts of trouble. For Benoit, he leaves the 3, 4, 6, 10, a very makeable split. Needs to get the ball over here by the 3, slide it in the 4, and the ball will take out the 6 and 10 pins. If he doesn't make this split right here, he's in major trouble, trailing by more than 40 pins.
And now it's his second open frame in 5, giving him 62 through the 5th. Maybe he'll have some luck beginning on the left lane here. He's 5'9", 135 pounds. His opponent, 215 pounds. So he has a 10-pin and totally confusing. You see the deepening of the furrows in his brow.
No doubt. He's playing the 3rd arrow on the left-hand lane. He's in the right zone. He's made shots that are not up to his standards. He throws the ball a little bit hard one time, a little bit soft the next, pulls one, so just kind of an off day, but he still can recover with a big strength.
And that won 3 regional titles in 1987 prior to coming to Jeannie Halsey's Forum Bowl to shoot the perfect game. Here are the averages for 1988.
A little bit higher than we've seen in years past. The old record held by Mark Roth in the 220s, but the other players down to 5th place, Tom Kreitz at better than 216 is one of the highest 5th place averages at this point of the year that I've seen in quite a few years. So averages are up, scores are up. Now Bellinger, 48-pin lead, 2 strikes in a row working.
10-pin on the right lane for Bellinger. You saw Pete Weber up there high on the averages. He finished 52nd. Monticello 49th this week.
Watch the loft of Bellinger. He rolls that wrist under the ball. Look at the ball. He sends it up airborne about 7 feet over the foul line. And the reason that works so well in this house that a bowling ball on many of the lanes here has a tendency to bounce in the first 2 feet right past the foul line. He just throws it over that area.
Bowen running down beyond the top 24. I noticed you were 39th. You had a good payday and 23 straight years here.
23 straight years is right, Chris. This championship has always been good to me. I had the good fortune of winning it in 1972, so it's been a few years since then. As you see, Jeff Bellinger, urethane bowling ball, finger grips, fingertip grip, spread that index finger, tuck that pinky. Watch the bowling tip of the week this week. It involves exactly what Bellinger's doing. He leads by 47.
Action on the pins, taking out the 5-pin. Strike in the 7th for Bellinger as he goes against Bob Benoit.
No big deal. It's a pain. No, Carrie. It's called a Master Care Car Service. Brakes, alignment, tune-up, the works. It's no big deal. And the 6-month or 6,000-mile warranty covers parts, labor, wherever they do Master Care service.
From Seattle to Schnecksville.
Sounds right, this Master Care.
So right that fixing your car is no big deal.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Master Care Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
Savages? Nah, just guys with skin a little irritated from shaving. That's why there's new Aqua Velva skin conditioning aftershave.
Hey, that's a different kind of Aqua Velva.
Right. It's a rich, creamy lotion for irritated skin. Guys prefer its soothing formula and great fragrance over the leading brand.
You savage.
New Aqua Velva skin conditioning aftershave. Soothes the savage skin.
One more reason. There's something about today's Aqua Velva man.
ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour keeps on rolling. It's the 18th annual $140,000 Fairlanes Open. Next Saturday on ABC Sports.
While we were away, Bob Benoit shooting in the 7th frame, left the 210, chopped the 2 for another open. And now here on the left lane, he has a 3-6, 8th frame. Spare for Bob, trailing by 60 pins against Jeff Bellinger, who won the first match here today against Jeff Miller, 198 to 185. The winner of this match will have to bowl Dave Houston of Milwaukee, Oregon. Another 10 on the right lane for Bellinger.
The one problem that many players have had in this bowling center is strictly that, solid 10s. You can hit the pocket. The ability to carry the 10-pin consistently is just reserved for a few people.
For a moment, he thought he was going to miss the 10. Something we didn't want to miss today. Elaine Hagan, representing the Bowling Writers Association, presenting a trophy, a $2,500 scholarship award to the male and female collegiate bowlers of the year. Here it's Chris Vial, a freshman at William Patterson College in Wayne, New Jersey. The lady winner from Penn State, Jackie Sellers, couldn't make it in because of the foggy flying conditions. Practice in 10-pin shootings, but we do have a winner. His second win here in as many matches. Dave Houston will be Bellinger's next opponent.
Who wants to go first?
You mean we actually say it?
Nothing tastes more like home than Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah. Welcome home. May I help you?
Good.
How about welcome home to Chicken Done Right?
There you go.
I got one. Make yourself at home. The coleslaw's fresh.
And the buttermilk biscuits are hot.
Nice to have you home.
You're never too far, so come as you are.
Welcome home.
Kentucky Fried Chicken is home.
There's a level of performance that separates the good from the great. That's why Carmen Salvino designed the Ebonite Thunderbolt. The exclusive power core increases gyroscopic action for a sharper hook on heavy oil. And the Thunderbolt rolls farther before hooking, so it hits harder for less deflection and more striking power. The difference between good and great is the power of the Thunderbolt.
Okay, so you love your car. Whoa, you're not going inside yet. The tires, the 4 round things underneath. There you go. Now, see that armor all protected? Wipe some of that stuff on the tires and bumpers. Okay, now get in the car and do the dash and the seats. You can do this. This is not rocket science. Now, look at your car. Now go in the house and tell them how hard you worked. Go ahead. They don't know about armor all. They'll buy it.
No big deal. Tune-ups?
It's Master Care Car Service.
Great tune-ups with a computer that talks to your car.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Master Care Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
It's more effective than the leading men's deodorant. It's been proven better in clinical tests at blocking odor. It's Old Spice Fast Track Wide Deodorant. It blocks odor better.
We're in Milwaukee, our 12th stop on our winter tour. 4 to go. Next week, Fairlane's Open in Baltimore, to be followed by the United States Open in Atlantic City. And then we move to Connecticut, Greater Hartford Open, followed by the Firestone Tournament of Champions. On today's Bowling Tip of the Week, Nelson Burton Jr. presents part 2 of how your grip can improve your game. Today's Old Spice Tip of the Week is brought to you by Old Spice, the clean, classic scent men love.
Last week we talked about how you can use the 2 fingers not in the bowling ball to improve your game. This week we're going to show you how to get more power and more control with these 2 fingers that are not in the ball. First, the index finger. Spread the index finger wide on the bowling ball for the power grip. Then tuck your wrist underneath the ball and be conscious of where that index finger is throughout the swing. That keeps you inside, allowing you to get more turn and power at the release point. Now for spares, you want the ball to roll more simply. Move the index finger from the outside position down and tight next to the middle finger. This will allow you to stay directly behind the bowling ball, giving you a very simple roll as the ball comes off your hand, controlling spare shots. And finally, let's deal with that little pinky. Sometimes you're slipping with the ball in your hand, sometimes you lose your grip. Take that little pinky and tuck it under. They're real tight like this. This will increase your gripping power, allow you to get more on the ball, keeping it from slipping off your hand. Now remember, use that index finger and that pinky to your best use.
What kind of man whistled the Old Spice tune?
He's my daddy. My practically perfect husband.
You can count on him.
He's the captain of my ship.
He's a friend.
The Old Spice man, a man's man.
Clean, refreshing Old Spice. It's the favorite scent of the American man, and he'll never change his tune.
And I love him for it.
Old Spice.
Now let Bo help you score even more. You'll also fix problems, improve strategy, and practice smarter with Bo Burton's new bowling video.
This video is for you.
ABC Sports and Old Spice bring you Bo Burton's new instructional video, Score More. Just $24.98 plus $3 shipping. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
Well, the second game has ended. Jeff Bellinger won the first over Jeff Miller. 207 to Bob Benoit's 168. 5 strikes for each professional. Now we go into the third match, the semifinal before the championship game against the tournament leader Steve Cook and 28-year-old Dave Husted of Milwaukee, Oregon. is the opponent. 5 titles in a 10-year career. Former U.S. Open champion, won it in Houston in 1982, and Bellinger in his 12th television finals has had great success. Not winning success here at Red Carpet, but he has been the 4th seed 3 of the last 4 years here in Milwaukee. Now he's reached the semifinal game. Shot 1. Oh, he's going to get a lot of 10-pin practice today.
For a little bit, Chris, but this is the transition game. As I spoke earlier, these lanes seem to score much better when they call it on the Pro Tour open up. That means hook a little bit more. You saw Bellinger's ball almost hook back solid to the pocket. I'd say in another 5 minutes or so, the lanes are going to open up and the scores will really start escalating.
Fair for Bellinger, first frame. Now, stepping up, Dave Houston. 5 titles, and that in 2 years has gone over the 100,000 plus in earnings. Last year 65, up to this year, this point 18,000. Leaving the 2-5 on his first shot.
Pretty good shot by David Houston. The thing you watch with his style is if he comes all the way through with his arm swing as he does on this shot, 5-step delivery, has that high-profile arm swing right in line with the target, wrist nice and flat. I like that, under control. Now watch his follow-through. Comes all the way through. He just didn't play the lane properly on that shot, but if he continues to make good swings like that, he's going to score big.
25th television appearance for Houston, who last year was on our telecast 3 times. Finished 5th twice and 3rd once. So he is in need of another win.
The PBA Tour choir boy, as he's affably nicknamed out here, once sang the a cappella for high school band, the high school choral group.
He'll hum on that one, won't he? Ooh, 4-pin at the last moment.
The 2-pin to the sideboard. That's the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. Goes the sideboard twist between the 4 and 7 pins. Great shot for David Houston. Now Bellinger has both lanes pretty well figured out after 2 victories. Should be able to throw almost every ball in the pocket.
Come on, Jeff!
So we are dead even after 2 frames in our 3rd match of the afternoon. The winner to meet left-hander, huge Steve Cook of California. Challenge of the Champions, presented by Minolta. Look at that matchup. Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King pairing to go against Chris Evert and Pam Shriver. And then professional boxing, Virgil Hill did the fight when he won his championship. It's his 2nd title defense. Plus, Mutual of Omaha's Spirit of Adventure. Twilight of the Gorilla, it's a return, and we're happy for that.
Hall tomorrow on ABC. Now Bellinger for a double.
Can you believe Jeff waited at the line? The pin comes rolling over, takes out the 10.
Watch the action of the head pin as you see Jeff Bellinger come in light. Here the head pin comes to the sideboard and comes all the way across. It knocks out the 10 for a strike. I said the lanes are opening up. This is what we mean. More swing area, more pin action. There's the head pin. It's lost. It's going to come around.
Well, we never said you didn't have to have some luck in life,
That's
did we?
for sure.
And now here's Houston, strike up. Stay even, he needs it. Just didn't come up, leaving the 2-4-10. Tough shot.
The right-hand lane giving David Houston a lot of trouble here early. He slides by both times. 2-4-10, needs to slide the 2-pin into the 10-pin to just stay close to Jeff Bellinger, a shot that David Houston can make.
So it's an open frame. Earlier we talked to David about his relationship with his dad.
Well, my father and I like to play a lot of golf together when we have the chance in Oregon. We also like the outdoors. We like to do a little salmon fishing and also do a little bird hunting in the fall.
Okay, all in Oregon. You notice how he pronounced that state's name? Properly. Oh, a 10-pin also now for Houston on that left lane.
David seems to have no trouble with the left lane. He's lined up, and he can hit the right lane also. So I think unless Bellinger gets out to a great big lead, David Houston will really give him a run for the money at the end of the match.
All right, a spare. 22 pins separating these two pros.
You hear the thunder, the call of the road. No time to wonder, you gotta go.
Aggressively styled and power to match. That's Grand Am.
Get on your Pontiac and ride, Pontiac ride.
And now, with $400 back direct from Pontiac, you can really cash in on Grand Am excitement.
Get on your Pontiac, rebuild excitement.
Okay, listen up. Oakley here's filling in for Ball tonight.
For 3 years, Bill Oakley took orders. But tonight, he's got to stand up and take charge.
You make America work.
Here's to you, the clean, crisp taste of Beechwood-aged Budweiser. For all the guys who know it's not what you say, but what you do.
Martina Navratilova and Billie Jean King take on Chris Everett and Pam Shriver in the Challenge of the Champions, presented by Minolta. Then Virgil Hill, the man whose title victory stunned the boxing world, defends his crown on Schlitz Malt Liquor Professional Boxing. Followed by the season premiere of Mutual of Omaha's Spirit of Adventure. All tomorrow on ABC Sports.
Okay, from behind. When you're being kicked from behind, it means you're in front. This is the way we see the championship pair, and you see the red-shirted Jeff Bellinger, who's won our first two matches here at Red Carpet Lanes in Milwaukee, and he has a lead of 22 pins with a double working, shooting in the fourth. Now, Jeff will do this every now and then. Doesn't mind stepping off the approach and recollecting, I guess you'd call it.
Well, the feel of the ball, and most importantly, the thumb hole is so important to any pro bowler. And Jeff didn't have the right feel, made the smart move, step back. He has a commanding lead. He'd like to extend it over a very tough and dangerous David Houston.
Go out. No, he wanted it to hook back in. It just didn't.
By far the worst shot that Jeff Bellinger has rolled so far today. He pulls up at the foul line and just never gives the ball any leverage. You must stay underneath the bowling ball to get the leverage. Now watch him here. Now he's down crouched. Now look at him raise up. See him standing almost stiff-legged as he lets it go. He knows it's quit. He wants it to stay the right. If it hooks a little bit, he gets a washout split, spare to shoot at. Instead, he leaves a 1, 2, 4, and 8. A little bit easier spare. Has to get the ball to the left side of the head pin.
Oh, yes. A little tentative, but it worked. Spare in the fourth for Bellinger.
So far, April 2nd has been a lucky day for Jeff Bellinger in his life, Chris. In April 2nd, 1977, in the National Collegiate Championships, he rolled a 300 game, and so far he is undefeated today in the Milwaukee Championships. As you see the Lockridge Knight fight coming up, Chris, I'll pick a favorite. I like Knight. And
okay.
Then again, I'm sure you're up to date on the amateur championships, the lead up to the Olympics.
Mm-hmm. That kind of strike. Perfect. Harold Knight, the opponent in that bout. Bo is undefeated. 15 knockouts. Love those punchers, but Lockridge can punch too, has 35 knockouts.
Should be a good one. Now, Houston, a little time to collect his thoughts, make the adjustment on the right lane. Let's give Bellinger a run for his money.
All right, 2/3 of a bucket, or 3/4, I should say. 2-4-5.
David slides by, and you can see he uses much more of a straight trajectory towards the pocket as any of the other four players. He's the only, what I would say, non-cranker in the field. Houston by no means throws a straight ball, but he doesn't throw the big bender.
Oh. Chopping the 2 and 5, leaving the 4, and just a wry smile on the face of this pleasant 28-year-old
a surprised look on his face. He wants that ball to bite on the lane and hook, bite, bite, bite. It keeps sliding. It's like the lane is only 57 feet long instead of 60 feet long. Husted, with that open frame, has really dug himself a hole. Needs to throw all strikes.
So now he will have to cover the 5-pin on the left lane. Now, at the top we talked about the audiences in this state. Well, today, the bowling has been so strange, so different, that they haven't had much opportunity to react like they usually do.
Very true. The audience needs to go get momentum along with the players. Nobody has established any momentum.
Jeff, in the previous game, in his victory over Bob Benoit, strung 4. He's had a double here in this match, but he has a strike up now, shooting in the 6th frame, and a troubled David Husted sits and waits. And a 2 did not come up.
Well, the right-hand lane seems like it's getting slicker and slicker, less surface friction. The ball just slides by. Normally a big hook by Bellinger. He has trouble. And this, as we've seen, all the spares on the left-hand side have been trouble today. Saw David Husted slide by the 2, 4, and 5. Nobody's made the 2-10 split, which usually the pros give a good run at. And Bellinger has left himself on these lane conditions a tough spare here, the 2, 5, and 8. Jeff getting cranked up now, beginning to get with it. This semifinal game, the winner will meet Steve Cook, who's won 12 titles. Before we went on the air, Jeff asked me to say a little hi to his daughter, Kimberly Ann. So Kimberly, in Columbia, South Carolina, through my voice, says hi from your daddy. Now, your daddy also has a 32-pin lead through 6 frames, 7th frame up. A very tough man right there, former U.S. Open champion David Husted, contemplating his next move.
See there, Jeff!
Powerful strike by 215-pound Jeff Bellinger. More of both of them after this.
It's no big deal.
Brake jobs?
It's Mastercare car service. Premium brake jobs. Terrific warranty.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. Mastercare Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
Is the place.
$4.77 buys you either 25 Ace Silver Sack trash bags or the Simple Green Concentrated All-Purpose Cleaner.
I know football, but I don't know this stuff. Hey, let me tell you, Ace is a place for me.
When Radio Shack put their $849 computer on sale for only $599, I just had to have it because it runs the same IBM PC software I use at the office. I got this complete system, including color monitor, for only $899. And it came with 7 programs in one, like word processing, budgeting. My wife uses it to run her catering business.
Homework, Dad.
They use it so much, I'm thinking of getting my own.
Save $250 on a Tandy 1000 SX, only $599 with software. Complete system only $899 at Radio Shack.
ABC's Pro Bowlers Tour keeps on rolling. It's the 18th annual $140,000 Fairlanes Open, next Saturday on ABC Sports.
6 feet 7 inches tall, 265 pounds, Steve Cook, tournament leader, waiting for the winner of the game now underway. Look at that southpaw.
Finished last night, Chris, in the last 4 games, 256, 267, 279, 279. So if the action is going to pick up at all, it's going to start right now here with Husted and the Bellinger match, because they got to toughen up for Steve Cook.
Come on, Dave!
David Husted with only his 2nd strike of the match. Up to, prior to that strike, our average for all bowling here on our telecast was 189.
Watch the angle of attack of David Husted. He's playing out by the first arrow on the right-hand lane, and I really favor his type of shot, the outside line on this particular lane. You see Husted coming through, the ball going between the 1st and 2nd arrows, and on the left-hand lane, he should be around the 3rd arrow.
So this week, the National Bowling Council, after a survey, discovered that 68 million people bowl every year, 11 times per year.
Wow, that's a lot, and I'm sure that's just the United States, as this is a international sport with professional bowling tours in Japan. They have a semblance of the Pro Bowlers Tour in Europe, and the Latin American countries also have some sort of competition year-round.
And the demographics, 33% men, 38% women, 28% 5-year-olds to 17-year-olds.
Good balance. Now Bellinger will like to balance out his strikeability on this pair of lanes, and he does.
So it's his second double of his semifinal game, shooting for his third victory.
Jeff is often known as an erratic player. He once bowled in League 127. A little bad. 300. Came back with 179. Average of 202. Just a little bit different way to get it. A 600 series without a 200 game. Right now he'd like to string out some of those strikes. He has a possible 246.
Intensity now building up in this man from Columbia, South Carolina.
Now you watch the trajectory of Jeff Bellinger. He's playing the left-hand lane absolutely perfect. Just over the third arrow. Gets a lot of turn on the ball. The lanes are drawing out. Now you can see the top weight take over, and he rips those pins out of there.
That's a three-bagger for David Houston. Now the crowd's beginning to get with it, because the strike is the ultimate thing in bowling. And, Bo, we mentioned the 69 million that bowl a year. Well, there are 7 women's bowling associations in the state of Maine that are having their 21st annual tournament, and they asked me to wish them good luck.
Well, I'm sure that...
Why not?
I agree that hope they do very well in the tournament. They all can't be winners, but if you're bowling, you got to have a lot of fun. Now, Houston, to have any chance, must strike right here.
2 pin.
Trouble. The best he can do is 193. Jeff Bellinger going at a fantastic 226 pace. It's going to be Bellinger and Cook in the final match, as you see Houston's ball slide by on the left-hand lane. He just couldn't put it all together from the start to finish today, but this man will be back. Just a likable guy, David Houston, is I'm sure that almost everybody on the tour counts him as a friend. Good all-around athlete, 6 handicap golfer. And I'm sure his family is proud of him all the time. 193.
And a man that puts priorities in perspective. He was in the top 24 of last year's Firestone tournament, which meant a shot for the title. His wife, Michelle, was expecting, and he gave up the Firestone competition, flew back to Oregon to be there when Corey Allen was born. That shows me class.
Excellent, excellent thought. Now Bellinger to lock up the match and go against Steve Cook. He's the winner with that shot right there, a possible 225.
All right. 3 victories for the man seated 4th, Jeff Bellinger. Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our local station.
Round of lights here?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Because everything else is just a light.
In every town in America, there's always one place that does a little bit better job of fixing your car. And it seems the things they all have in common are great mechanics, great service, and Napa parts.
Well, spring is here, and to make sure your car takes the change of seasons in perfect stride, stop by your Napa Auto Care Center now for our spring specials. Look for the sign of Quality Car Care. Napa.
Sunday, the Man of Steel returns.
I believe this is your floor. Nobody's going to get in here.
Superman 2, Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
Oh, hi there. Say, you know, I've really gotten into bowling, as you can see. It's lots of fun, and you don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. The nice folks at Windward, Leeward, and Cleanhy Bowl have everything you need. It's great exercise and so inexpensive that you can treat the gang to a sandwich at the snack bar. You're gonna love bowling, so why don't you drop in?
All your favorite stars are here to play.
Who is this?
They're Hollywood's hottest quick-draw celebrities.
Do a couple of Van Goghs in here, probably, I'm sure.
Playing in a game that's fast and fun.
This is a cheat. This is a cheat.
So picture yourself along with these famous faces and play along on Win, Lose, or Draw.
Win, lose, or draw, weeknights at 6:30 on KITV.
We're for Hawaii.
I'm Frank Gifford, and today on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Harold Knight, undefeated, the kid, 19-0, looks to unseat veteran IBF junior lightweight king Rocky Lockridge, who began his pro career when Knight was just 14 years old, and you'll see it live. And America's top young boxers dream of Olympic glory at the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We'll also have our Athlete of the Week today on ABC's Wide World of Sports. It's an action-packed day following the final bowling match. Now back to you, Chris.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, Jeff Bellinger. Look at that. He has won 3 matches in a row, 6 strikes in his last win over David Houston, 224 to Houston's 193. 161 professionals started here earlier in the week. There were 17 lefties in the field. 5 made the final 24. Bo?
Average game, 207, not bad. 217, 211 to cash. 53rd place, Butch Soper, $1,250. Hard charging Ron Bell up there. Tommy Kreitz, as usual. Lefty up there, Tom Hins, Williams, Parker Bone. John Fine, a local amateur. Lenny Borish finished 12th. Rod Pasteur. Mark Baker, early leader. The big guy, Pensek up there. John Mazda, Rick Steelsmith, Ryan Schaefer. Mazda's partner in the doubles, Harold Sullins up there in 19th. Tom Adcock, Joe Merrill, Dave Ferraro, Bill Beach, the senior up there, and Randy Peterson, the acrobatic one, finished 24th.
And now here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, live coverage of the championship match. The 2 bowlers rolling for $59,000, 39 to the winner. And here's the tournament leader, Steve Cook. 36 television appearance in his career, spanning 11 years. 2nd championship round this year.
Power against power. 2 of the biggest, strongest players on the tour.
Shaky 3 for Steve Cook.
Chris, there's a word you always used to use, and it was always an apparent good-looking hit, and those should be strikes when they're like that. The ball just, once again, just overpowers the pins. Unfortunate that anybody has to pay a penalty for a quality strike shot. Cook, easy spare to start with, the 9 pin.
Look at the bend in the arc on that shot. Steve Cook of Roseville, California, father of 3, Stacy, Jill, and Kristen, 4 months old. And here is Jeff Bellinger, 1-3, Kimberly Ann. He and Phyllis have 1 child.
He used to be nicknamed Boom Ball Bellinger because of his tremendous, tremendous hook. He's cut it down some, but it's still a big, powerful ball.
So he starts his championship match in grand fashion.
Jeff Bellinger not eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions, as you see the leaders by around 18 games of qualifying. Mark Baker, the early leader. Dave Houston overtook him in the 3rd round, and then Dave maintained that lead to the very last game where Steve Cook shot a 279 to drop David Houston down to 2nd. Now Bellinger, who has worked his way through the field, winning 3 matches, challenging Cook for the title. And as I said, Bellinger not eligible for the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Art Trask, 4-time champion, who hasn't won in a year or so, would be knocked out.
And here now we have a 3, 6, 9, 10 for Bellinger.
We recall how Bob Benoit took the 3-6, 9-10 and tried to go across lane to make it. I'm not saying it's more difficult to go across lane, but I think it's one of the exceptions to the spare rules. I think Bellinger should play this ball down the right side around the first arrow. It increases his percentage of making this spare, even though it's more choppable that way. The ball rolls smoother, and you carry out the back 8 pin. Let's see the angle he takes.
Okay. Down on that one knee at the line.
Well, he wanted to make sure he carried out the 9. He had the 3-6 covered perfectly, but the key is the 9 pin. Perfect shot for Bellinger to start.
This left-hander won 4 titles in 1986, including the United States Open in Venice, Florida. He's had a fine record in the past from the top spot from where he's bowling today. Well, the left-hand version of the bucket now, 3-5-6-9.
Steve Cook with that 5-step delivery, the tremendously high upright stance. Then he drops that knee down. So important for him to get down low on a shot. That high backswing, the long swing, and really a deliberate, long, extended follow-through. He just did not read the lane properly on that shot. Threw it a little bit too hard. Has left himself the 3-5-6-9 second frame.
Steve can get the crowd going as he did last night when he starts stringing them, because he'll run them out, move around a lot with those big steps that he has. Imagine 11-year career, 12 titles. Consistent except for last year, which was a difficult one for him, winning only 21,815. And this glove.
Baseball glove, Chris, that he feels helps him hold on to the ball. And as you see it there on his left hand, now trails by 4.
6-10.
Look at him staring at that 6-10. It's just, once again, too much ball for the pins. A hit that normally would strike and drive all 10 pins back. The ball doesn't deflect at all. Leaves the 6-10 spare. Where the scores make up with these high-powered bowling balls are the off hits, the shaker hits, the swisher hits, the hits that sometimes you can carry and sometimes you can't carry. So the scores are not as controllable as they used to be.
Continuing to mark, Steve Cook of Roseville, California. From Columbia, South Carolina, Bellinger is up with 3 victories coming into this championship game over Jeff Miller, Bob Benoit, and Dave Houston. He has a spare up. He'll be shooting in the 3rd frame. Next week from Baltimore. Yeah, we'll go for the crab cakes, Bo.
That's the place to do it. Well, Bellinger has been obviously the most consistent of the 5 players out there today. He's never really gotten in a lot of trouble, and nobody's really challenged Bellinger, as each opponent has just struggled, not what we call lined up on either one of the championship pair lanes. And with this match game style, Bellinger, maintaining his composure and concentration, has been able to defeat 3 opponents. He now has a 6-pin lead over tournament leader Steve Cook.
Making his best finish here in Milwaukee, 5th in 86, 5th in 85, 13th in last year.
Come on, Jeff, one more time!
Another 10 on the left lane.
Jeff Bellinger actually controlled that ball a little bit. He's a free-swinging bowler, and I think with victory not necessarily in sight, because there's still 7 frames left in the game, he kind of aimed that shot a little bit, didn't get the lift he needed on the ball to carry out the 10, and has left what we call the half 10, needs this to maintain his 6-pin lead.
Tight battle for the total of $59,000 live here at Red Carpet Lanes.
Okay, honey.
Can you tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's brand flakes?
Hang in there, honey.
Well, some people feel a little sluggish if they're not eating a balanced diet.
Oh, boy, am I sluggish.
Kellogg's are the only bran flakes with fiber and a full day supply of iron to help balance your diet. And that's one great way to help fight that sluggish feeling. So maybe you can tell who hasn't had their Kellogg's bran flakes
Great shot, honey.
and who has. Kellogg's bran flakes, the fiber and iron cereal.
I've tried it. Now I believe it. Denerex Tingles tells me it's doing more. Head and Shoulders, no tingles.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denerex adds both an extra anti-itch medicine and conditioner, too.
Goodbye, Head and Shoulders. Hello, Denerex.
No big deal. Tune-ups?
It's MasterCare Car Service.
Great tune-ups with a computer that talks to your car.
Finally, taking care of your car is no big deal. MasterCare Car Service by Firestone.
I thought they just sold tires.
We're in our championship match of the Milwaukee Championship, a $200,000 tournament, 39 to the winner, 20 to the runner-up. Steve Cook, the tournament leader, has been waiting all this time as we look at his very pretty wife, Candy. Candy and Tammy. Candy married to Steve Cook. Tammy married to Mike Albee, who has a victory this year, so Steve is trying to match his brother-in-law's performance. Three, 5, 6.
A quizzical look on his face. He says, I put a lot on that ball, and it didn't hook very much. The 3, 5, 6, Chris, as you said. Cook, a fairly good spare shooter, or you don't become a pro champion, but really a strike bowler, has made the first 3 difficult spares he's had. The 9-pin, the 3, 5, 6, 9, the 6, 10 in the third frame, and now the 3, 5, 6 here in the fourth.
Ooh. One of them's going to split any minute. Well, we had a chance to talk to Cook about his new bowling glove.
Well, it's a baseball glove that I actually had to cut out a little bit to have the hand, fit the hand. But it's really helped from thumb to finger exit, which has been a big inconsistency in my game. And I really feel like it's helped me get to the #1 spot. Gives me better feel on the fingers and less feel on the thumb, which is important for me.
All right. There he is, putting that gloved fingers into the holes, and he's on the left lane. Finally, he says. 5th range strike, first of the championship match.
Bellinger, as I mentioned in the 4th frame, when he had a chance to double and take a 19-pin lead, kind of babied the ball or kept it in play. And as our statistician Palmer Falgren mentioned in the little commercial break, is that might not be a bad idea. When the scores are not high, you don't want to defeat yourself. Keep the ball in play. If a player gets ahead of you, by all means, reach back for a little extra. But why beat yourself? Could be a smart move by Bellinger.
Leaving a 10-pin. And, of course, Palmer Falgren, the man that won a tournament on television this year.
And averaged 210 this week, but that wasn't enough to get the check, as the scores were once again pretty high on the Pro Bowlers Tour. But there's that protective shot we were talking about. He didn't put all the lift he can put on the ball. That cuts down the rotation a little bit, but doesn't make it as susceptible to sharp breaks or big skids on the lane. Now, needs a spare to maintain an 8-pin lead through 5.
Starting from way left, weaving even more as he went to the line. Jeff Bellinger with a spare in the 5th. And immediately following us, it will be Wide World of Sports for the International Boxing Federation Junior Lightweight Championship. Veteran Rocky Lockridge against Harold Knight. And a report on the U.S. Amateur Boxing Championships.
The U.S. Amateur Boxing Championship, Chris, you being one of the most knowledgeable boxing persons I know, can the Americans rebound back and have really a good Olympic team in Seoul, Korea?
I think they have too many young prospects because it's so near to Seoul, Korea. Kelsey Banks, a possibility, yet he's had his problems this year. And, of course, if Cuba does compete in the Summer Olympic Games, it's adios.
See you later. As you look at the reaction of Jeff Bellinger as he nails this down, he likes it. He can smell victory. He's had every ball around the pocket except the one in the second frame. Now, the key for Steve Cook is the right-hand lane. He's been light in the pocket both times. He needs this strike to take the lead. See if he can make the adjustment.
And a 7.
Well, in bowling parlance, they say the ringing 7, and that one was surely ringing as Steve Cook, with his 20-mile-an-hour strike ball, hit the 1-2 pocket, drove the 4-pin right over the top of the 7, and has left him a spare that sometimes bothers left-handed bowlers, but not Steve Cook. Watch how he moves to the extreme right-hand part of the lane, carefully counting off the boards to the right of the last dot, and then kills that big hook by breaking the wrist back and uses a lot of extra speed.
Blew it.
See, I talked him right into that.
What a
My
bad break.
goodness. You know what? He threw a hook ball in that spare, and I've watched him all week long. He's been using this different ball, and as you see him, he just knows it's gone when he lets go of it. You see his hand. He actually saw his hand come through director Jim Jeanette's picture there. That meant he turned the ball over. If you saw his hand stay flat as he normally does, the ball would have slid right back into the 7-pin. Now he trails by 20.
Seven pin on the left lane.
Well, let's see what Steve Cook has learned by his last previous miss of the 7-pin, the extreme outside line of Steve Cook out by the second board, and now he's switched balls, Chris. This is what he did all week long. He took a ball that he knows will not hook at all, and he's going for the 7-pin with this shot. I'm sure he'll make it, and he'll wish he had done this in the 6th frame.
Yes. All right, Jeff Bellinger, 3 victories from the 4th seeded spot in this field of 5 against Steve Cook, who is disgusted. If he had a pin, I think he could break it in half.
No doubt. And here's another powerful man who really has a chance to let one go. He has a 20-pin lead. Even an open frame would not put him behind in the match. A strike here would give him a commanding lead. So let's see if Jeff Bellinger lets that wrist stand of the ball, rotates that ball real hard, and really attacks the 1-3 pocket.
Double for Bellinger. Good games of 198, 207, and keeps increasing with a 224 in his win over Houston.
Now we watch that wrist action of Jeff Bellinger. Steady head, rotates that wrist underneath the ball, stays down with a shot. Now watch his reaction. He knows he really put the putty to this one. 30-pin lead. Now what do you do? 30-pin lead. Do you attack or do you keep it in play? The decision is all Bellinger's.
Great crowd here. Martin Luby Jr., recent Hall of Famer, looking on. Jeff steps away once again.
Speaking of ABC Hall of Famers, congratulate Barry Asher and Mike McGrath, 2 of the greatest pros of all time, who will be inducted along with John Jowdy into the PBA Hall of Fame at the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Now Bellinger, 30-pin lead, 2 strikes up, can extend to 48th frame.
All deserving nominees. A 4.
And he's kind of glad to see that 4-pin. And Bellinger said, I want to attack, and then he quit on it a little bit. The ball drifts high on the left-hand lane, almost leaves the 4-9 split. You see the 4-pin, the 9 falls a little bit later. He's left himself an easy spare to maintain the 29-pin lead.
Taxing afternoon for Jeff Bellinger in his 4th match, whereas the tournament leader, sometimes to the good and sometimes not so, Steve Cook, is having his problems here today with a strike up now in the 7th. Needs one here in the 8th. There's his opponent. baby.
And I'm sure that the ball, listen to him, is a very determined Steve Cook has come up to the biggest frame for him all week long. If he does not strike here, he makes it almost impossible to win the match. If he does, he has a possible 209 game, Bellinger going at a 208 pace. So a must shot for Steve Cook, 9th frame.
That's a competitor. You don't win 12 titles without being one. Andy knows. She's watching that overhead score sheet.
And we've had some very tight matches over the years here at the Milwaukee Championships. I think I had a graphic that I once put together, Chris, about 4 years ago, where most of the matches here, or half of them, were decided by less than 9 pins in the championship match. I still remember Don Janello throwing 2 strikes to defeat Mark Roth in the championship match 2 years ago. So this match is still up for grabs. Bellinger going at a 208 pace, Cook a possible 209, 9th frame.
All but the 10. And as I recall, though, we've had a couple of ties here and roll-offs.
Had a tie that Jeff Bellinger was involved in with Brian Voss. He ultimately lost that match to Voss 40-39 in the PBA's 2-frame sudden death roll-off system. But Bellinger is much farther through the field today as he's bowling just 2 frames for the championship.
All right, spare in that foundation 9th. All right, 18 pins. They're battling for 59 grand.
If Jeff Bellinger throws 2 strikes, 1 in the 10th and 1 in the 11th, he shuts out Steve Cook. If he does not, we have a possibility of a tie or possibility of Cook winning the tournament. Bellinger allowed 3 re-racks in any championship match game. Takes one there, I think, just to gather his thoughts, knowing that 2 strikes will lock up the title. If he gets anything less, this man can take it.
Looks away. And Bellinger bowls away. High hit, 3-6.
All right, for Jeff Bellinger, it's not absolutely necessary that he makes this 3-6 spare, but it would make Cook get 2 strikes. If he misses it, Cook would need 1 strike.
3-6 on the left lane. Oh, he's really pumped up now.
The count ball in any match is usually pretty important, but in this situation, for every pin that Bellinger gets is put him closer to 205. Cook would need 2 strikes and 7 pins to win. 204.
9 pins and a 204 for Bellinger in his 4th match of the afternoon, trying for his first title since winning in 1986 at the Buffalo Open. Now Steve Cook. Great experience. First title in 1979, the Ford Open in Alameda, California.
Absolutely must strike on the next 2 balls. Anything less, and Bellinger wins.
That's it. The bucket, it just wasn't there. 20,000 for Cook, 39,000 for Bellinger from Columbia, South Carolina. He has won the Milwaukee Championship. The Professional Bowlers Tour is brought to you by Seagram's Coolers. This is where the fun starts. By Tandy Computers, there is no better value. And by Armor All Protectant. It protects and beautifies every time you wash your car.
When Radio Shack put their $849 computer on sale for only $599, I just had to have it because it runs the same IBM PC software I use at the office. I got this complete system, including color monitor, for only $899. And it came with 7 programs in one, like word processing, budgeting. My wife uses it to run her catering business.
Homework, Dad.
They use it so much, I'm thinking of getting my own.
Save $250 on a Tandy 1000 SX, only $599 with software. Complete system only $899 at Radio Shack.
Today, we're going to find out why America rides Monroe shocks and struts. Sir, why do you ride Monroe?
It's the better handling.
Oh, Center. Huh? It's the smoother ride.
Better handling.
Smoother ride.
Better handling.
Smoother ride.
Well, whatever your reason, see your Monroe ride expert for the best ride ever. Guaranteed. No wonder America rides Monroe shocks and struts.
There's some sort of problem.
Seagram's peach.
Well, it's smooth, like your skin.
Wild berries.
Luscious, like your lips.
Come with me.
It's Seagram's gold. Sparkles, like your eyes. Anything for world peace.
The Kid meets the champ for the title. Rocky Lockridge is the veteran champ with knockout power. Harold Knight is undefeated in 19 pro bouts. They meet on ABC's Wide World of Sports next.
So the University of South Carolina graduate Jeff Bellinger has won 4 matches, including the championship and $39,000. 204 to 183 coming up next. It's ABC's Wide World of Sports. The Kid meets the champ. Junior lightweight title holder Rocky Lockridge defends his IBF crown against #1 contender undefeated Harold Knight, live except on the West Coast. Plus a report on the United States Amateur Boxing Championships. It's coming up next on ABC Sports. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.